Whilst at the Commonwealth Games on Australia's Gold Coast, the Energy FM team were invited to meet some very special animals at the Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary. The park was established in 1947 by beekeeper Alex Griffiths after flocks of wild lorikeets were ravaging his prize blooms. His answer was to divert their attention by providing an area for feeding. This became popular with locals and tourists, and the wildlife sanctuary was born. Of course, now one of the park's prized attractions is the koala bear. Kylie Lawless is the park's koala photographic supervisor. Well, we're down here at the Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary, joined by Kylie. And who have we got here?
We've got little Sid. Sid is 11 months old. He was born here. Part of our successful breeding program. He's in here with his mum, Captain.
Your job here is to look after the koalas. An amazing job, I'm sure.
I have the best job in the world. I do. I get to look after a lot of koalas. We've got over 50 koalas here in the park. And I have the special job of cuddling them and keeping them nice and healthy.
And we're here in the female area.
Yeah, so we have all of our females in here. Sid's the only exception to that rule. He's only 11 months old, so he's still in here with his mum. Usually baby koalas will stay with their mum until they're around a year of age.
Of course, you've got the hospital here where you treat a lot of animals. Do some of those animals stay here, or do they get released back into the wild?
The main aim with any animal that comes through the hospital is to release them back out into the wild. So that's pretty much what they will be doing over there, is rehabilitating animals for that process. And none of them actually mix with our animals that are born here. So these are all animals that have been born here at the sanctuary.
What's so special about the koala bear?
Koalas are pretty amazing animals. They sleep for 18 to 20 hours a day. They don't actually require water to keep themselves hydrated. They get all the water that they need from the eucalyptus leaves that they eat. And they're just pretty adorable.
Visitors to the park can have their photographs taken with a koala and enjoy the many other attractions, including a treetop adventure and a narrow gauge railway. There are literally thousands of different species that can be found in the park, but another popular animal with visitors is one that will be quite familiar to people from the Isle of Man.
So kangaroos are obviously endemic to Australia, and they're well known, obviously on our national emblem as well. And the reason behind that, and to start with, is that kangaroos don't actually take a step backwards. So in putting that on our emblem, it's basically saying Australia is always going forward, and we're going to keep going towards the future. So yeah, and obviously with kangaroos, everyone knows them all around the world. They've got movies out, documentaries out about them, and they're just one of the fascinating animals that makes Australia unusual.
Now in the Isle of Man, where we come from, we actually have wallabies that years ago escaped from a private collection. They've bred and they've successfully become almost indigenous now on the Isle of Man. Can you tell us the difference between kangaroos and wallabies?
Yeah, so kangaroos, we have a few species of kangaroos on mainland and on islands as well. And then we've got our wallabies, or part of the macropod family, but there's just tiny differences between them. So it might be the tail length, the amount of their body that actually touches the ground, and just what they eat as well can be quite different as well. So yeah.
And what do they eat?
They are more browse eaters and grass eaters and stuff like that. And also where they live is very different to where obviously our kangaroos live. So kangaroos will live in open areas, forests and stuff like that. Whereas your wallabies, depending on what species it is, they'll be on rocks, rock wallabies, or they'll be in very dense rainforest as well. So.
And in terms of breeding, everybody loves to see a baby in the pouch. And how often do they breed?
Kangaroos can actually breed all year round, which is one of the really good things about this. We have over 44 million, I think, on the last count of kangaroos in Australia. So kangaroos, what they're able to do is breed all year round. So as long as they have shelter, food and water, basically, then a kangaroo will breed. And the cool thing about kangaroos is they can actually have up to 3 joeys on the go at once. So they'll have one in the pouch attached to the teat. They'll have one, a foot young is what we call them, outside of the pouch. And then we have one which is embryonic diapause. So they pause giving birth until the next one's good to go. And the mums, being such good mums, can actually have 2 different formulas of milk or different strengths of milk depending on the joey's age, basically.
Okay, how long do kangaroos live for?
10 to 12 is a pretty good life. Captivity, you can get them for a bit longer, but it's obviously all dependent on the health of the individual as well.